Welcome back to video 5 in the series of animal prices at the Tule Lake Butte Valley Fair. And in this lesson, what we will do is create a chart of the median average lamb sales of prices. And we're going to create a line chart. And we're going to create a line chart because line charts are very useful when you want to show change over time. In the previous video, we showed that we did have a percent change, and that was indicated here with this decrease of a significant amount between the prices for the totals and the mean and the median over the 1 year period of time. And we showed that change through the bar charts. Well, line charts are also very good for showing change over time, especially if you have multiple years to go through, so you can really see what the trend of that change is through time. And so even though there's only 2 years here, so we get this nice straight line from one point to another, but we want to be aware that line charts are very good for showing change over time. And then we'll also take a look at how you can insert a picture within the plot area and then adjust the transparency of that image that you insert into your chart. And so what we're going to also do is, we had our data here for lamb prices. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and move that information and add a couple of headings here. So it's kind of this summary block of information that came from all of these totals that we created there in videos 1 through 4. So here we go. Step number 1. Let's go ahead and go back to our starting point. And I'm going to unfreeze my frames here. View, freeze panes, and unfreeze. And so then I can get down here to this summary data, which is where we are now going to spend our time. So go ahead and get that taken care of. Make sure you have your file open. And if you did have your panes frozen, then go ahead and unfreeze them. And once again, I did that by clicking at the location where I had set that freeze up, and go to View and then Freeze Panes, and that's where you can undo. The next step is, let's go ahead and move this data here, this block of information. And so you select the range of cells. In this case it's A29 through D33, and then to move it, we don't grab the fill or copy handle, but you can grab any one of these borders. And you'll notice that when you point to it, you get that multi-directional arrow right there. And then click and hold, and then you can move this data down. I'm going to take it down to row 33. And then you can do that. And then after you do that, you'll notice that it maintains the formula references, even though we've moved it. So it's still adding up the columns that we wanted to show here for our totals. So it maintains that reference in the formula. So everything's okay. So now we can go in and do some further analysis of this information here. And so the first thing we're going to analyze is the mean average for the lambs. This series of numbers right here is what we're interested in. And we're going to show that with a line chart. So here we go. Select. Oh, before we do that, we want to put in those headings here, like we had here, 2015 and 2016, and then put a border underneath it. So we'll go ahead and put in 2015, 2016. See how my format is. It's okay. If you happen to have a dollar format there, then you would come up here to your number format window. And if it's at dollars, it might look something like that. We don't want that. So just come back up here and put general format. And then you could put those in the center with your alignment. And I'm going a little bit faster here because this is a lot of review and we've done this before, but if at any point you need to pause, ask me a question in class, or just repeat it. And then to put a border underneath it, select those cells and come on up to your border tool and select the bottom border. And then you'll look like that. I'll zoom that in a little bit for you. Okay, to make a line chart, and we're talking about the mean average here for now, so let's go ahead and select those two values. Insert. And instead of column chart, we'll go ahead and select line chart. And we will select the first option on that two-dimensional line chart right there. And I'm going to move it off away from that data set. All these flies this time of year. It'd be good to have that cold weather come in and knock them down. Alright, just like before, we've got to give some meaning to this 1 and the 2 down here for these two data points. And of course it's 2015 and 2016, so we'll right click, select data. I'm going to look for that fly swatter. Edit. And then we want to add the 2015 and 2016 as our data points. There they are right there. Okay, I think we got him. So let's go in and we'll give a name to this series. And we will click Edit. And when we do this, it'll put it right up here on our chart title. So series name is going to be Mean Average Lamb Prices. Mean Average Lamb Prices. And there it is, right there. So there we have it. And so what this shows us, this line shows that we have a pretty steep curve going down there with a big drop in the prices from 2015 to 2016. So let's go into the plot area and see if we can add a picture. So we're talking about lambs, so let's go see if we can find some pictures of some lambs to insert into there. And you can pick any pictures you want, well, as long as they're sheep. But I'm going to grab something that has a lot of white in it. So notice when I click here, it makes this plot area active by putting that border around it with these resize handles. So I'm going to right click, and what I want to do is bring up this format plot area. Now I already have it up here. If it doesn't show up for you, what you can do is right click and select format plot area. And then you have a couple of you have this options window that pops up, and we're interested in the fill section. And look for picture or texture fill. See, now when I click on that, it's going to automatically bring up the previous picture that I had. And yours is going to look like this. And so what you will do is go ahead and select that, and then say, click Insert Picture from Online. If you had a file picture there on your computer, you could do that too, but we'll just go ahead and go out online. And then we'll do a search here. Lamb. And so you can see I have lots of choices. So I'll go ahead and replace the one that I have there. So that's just a way to add a little information to your chart, make it interesting. In this case, it's maybe just a little too cute, but there it is. And the next step after you do that is to control the transparency. So there's the full-on image right there, and that's probably what yours looks like. It's just a little too much, so I'm going to make it more like a little bit of a watermark. And so you'll come to transparency here, and you can take this slider and just decrease how much of that image is showing. So where are we at? We're about 89%. And so if you want, you could experiment a little bit with those. I'm going to go try something else. See if I put in a real picture what it looks like. Full picture, stretched out a little bit because of the size of that thing. But I come into my plot area and move that around a little bit, change that so that the picture's not quite as stretched. So go ahead and experiment with some different pictures, trying different transparencies, and then have me come by and look at that. And then if you want, you can go ahead and save that or move it to a separate sheet. Make it its own page, large like that, and then you can still go ahead and experiment on this particular separate page of your chart. And then once you've done that, go ahead and do the same thing for the hogs, just like we did with the lambs. Go ahead and create a line chart for those years, and then add a picture background to the plot area for the mean average hog prices.